Alrighty, everybody, welcome in to the Friendly Foes podcast. I'm Ben, and this is Jay.
Hi.
In the exciting time of baseball, October baseball. Oh, we didn't talk about this. Where are we playing? We're playing in Philly, right? We gotta play in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, it's there is literally nowhere else to play besides Philly right now.
Yep. Because, man, what an environment. Electric stuff going on there.
That place is bonkers.
So we are here to play MLB The Show, and we're here to talk about the wild. Nah, we already talked about the wild card rounds, right? That was last time.
Yes.
We are
talking about the division series now, man.
Get with the times.
Come on.
And we decided to go with all of the charged cards for the division series as well. So I think I'm sticking with all of the Phillies. So we've got Bryce Harper, we've got Trey Turner, and Nick Castellanos for me. Who are you going with?
When I find them, I'll let you know. I might go.
Yeah, we have to keep going pretty far for these.
Yeah, they're pretty deep in there.
Kind of annoying that there's no filter for trying to find people in co-op.
Yeah. Very annoying. They should fix that, but they probably won't.
Slowly but surely.
Probably gonna go tell
co-op
today.
stuff.
And we get my last guy here, last position player.
There he is, good old
Go Mitch Garver.
Silver 75, Nick Castellanos.
All right.
I don't have Jordan Montgomery. I would take him. I would try and do that one, but sadly I don't have him, and I don't think it doesn't look like I have anyone that's gonna be charged. So for pitching wise,
yeah, they kind of I'm really surprised Craig Kimbrell didn't get a supercharge. I thought he had a pretty big moment in getting that Acuna out.
yeah,
but
I mean, did he get that out?
I think Citizens Bank Park got that out, to be honest. I think the field was the main factor there.
Yeah.
That was the deepest part of the park, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that was a long way into the outfield.
It definitely
But Rojas
was.
got it, man.
Rojas got it.
Good for him. We got to save the Phillies and Braves, because if I start going off on it right now, I'm not going to come back.
Yeah.
So we got to start somewhere else. I got to start with the Twins and Astros. I mean, Astros 3-1. That game almost went 5 series. Twins, and I mean this in the best way possible. I'm very proud of you. Very proud of your season. I think we can all give the Twins a round of applause. A lot of people criticizing them when they were going into the playoffs, but I feel like they
took one.
I feel like they performed well.
They
performed well for sure.
They took a game, so you know what? That I'm not gonna say that's a easy thing to do against the Astros, because
no, especially not in the postseason.
Yeah. So they're
a different animal in the postseason.
They're a very good team.
Oh jeez.
I wasn't paying super close attention to it, but I do know that the man that they paid, Carlos Correa, did come in huge in a couple of situations. Pretty sure he's the reason he won their one game.
He did really well. I mean, that's what Carlos Correa does, I think back to the wild card round, and when he made that play coming all the way from second base, making that like sidearm submarine throw, dart to home plate to get the out. Mm-hmm. That was one of the coolest like postseason moments I've ever seen from a shortstop. That was really cool.
Absolutely. That was sweet. It's like, man, What did they call that? A heads up play. What a heads up play.
Yeah, a heads up play up there, huh? Yeah, good
Man,
job,
we didn't get
Correa.
Zach Gallen. Dang.
Dang it, we got Shohei Ohtani.
Man, what a what a chump. There it is.
You know, I gotta say it. I think the Twins, at the end of the day, they were just missing a few pieces. But I think that if that team, which they should be able to get some more pieces because they're pretty young, they're pretty cheap right now, and they should have a lot of money to burn. So in the off season, you know, I don't watch the Twins too much, so I don't know exactly what their needs are. But I do know that if they give a couple guys some money, they're gonna be just fine. I mean, I expect them to be able to have a pretty long run of competitive baseball. And you know, when it comes to the Astros, man, bro, out of all the teams that got the bye, if you would have told me that only one was going to make it out, I would not have picked them.
No?
I would not have picked them at all.
Oh, I would have. You know what? Man. Wow.
Woo!
Can you believe that? Holy cow. We got to go through all that again. All right.
Horrible.
Well, we're going to pause that right there. We'll be back when we're loading into a new game. That's what they get for choosing Laughing Mountain. All right, we're back. We got, you know what? This team that we're facing looks, they've done their homework, unlike you, man.
They got the Ellie De La Cruz cycle card.
You did. They definitely did their homework. And we have home field advantage this time. We were talking during the break, and pretty sure we're pretty sure that's our first rage quit, but if not, it's definitely our fastest rage quit that we've had when we've for as long as we've been doing co-op.
Oh yeah, I mean, like even going back to last year, like that is easily the fastest. Ooh, they got the City Connect jerseys too. Ooh,
boy,
looking good, Ellie.
Who are these guys?
Big Reds fans over here, right?
I mean, looks pretty good to me.
You know, those aren't the wristbands Ellie wears, man. He wears more colors than that. He's got like these blue ones that he wears right under his elbows. And none of this is important, but let me just make this play real quick. All right, there we go.
Thanks, Bryce. What a catch.
As far as the Twins and Astros go, I really like. At what point is it not surprising anymore? Because I'm to the point where it's not surprising for me with the Astros like finding a way to make it to the ALCS. Like I don't.
Yeah.
What do you even say at this point?
They've sort of become the Yankees, where you just don't want them to win because you've seen enough of them.
Yeah.
At least that was how I felt watching them in the playoffs growing up in 2000s. Not so much lately, but that's
definitely not lately.
That's another tale.
If the Astros, let me ask you this: if the Astros make it to the World Series, are you on the train of then they're a dynasty, or do they have to win to become a dynasty, or are they already that? What's your opinion?
I think they're already that, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll see what
when
happens.
You have that kind of like dominance, it's like sustained over almost a decade. I mean, you're already there. You know what I mean? Like being a dynasty, I feel like in today's sports world, you don't really see like a whole lot of back-to-backs anymore. I feel like just in general, organizations and leagues have kind of like evolved away from that.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to just have the chance to be that close 7 years in a row, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing something right, and I wish that team in Cincinnati could freaking do it too. But
weird, pretty sure they have a manager that used to be in Cincinnati. Pretty sure he
Yeah.
used to be
Yeah,
in
they do.
Chicago as well.
Good old
But
Dusty.
you know what? He was young in his Chicago days. He's very
I feel like
seasoned.
Dusty Baker looks like, to me at least, he hasn't aged in like 10 years. Like he looks like
That's
the
true.
exact same as he did like with the Reds, as he does with the Stros. I'm just like, wow, like did that guy just teleport from like 2012 to the Astros?
I think Tony La Russa looked pretty similar as well until he had to run out onto the field to try and protect one of his players. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you are you are old." Okay.
He had that old man shuffle for sure. It's like his feet. It's like an Olympic like speed walk. You know how they can't like have more than they
Right.
can't have both of their one foot has to be on the ground at all times. That's like how he shuffles out there.
Right.
How he shuffled out there. I guess he's done now, right?
Yes, yeah. All right, let's talk about the Orioles versus the Rangers. Good old
Disappointing.
sweet.
Disappointing.
You know.
Disappointing for the Orioles.
Yeah. Oh man, what a great pitch. So looking at the scores, you got first game was 3-2, the second game was 11-8, and then the third game was 7-1. So I mean, the first two games in Baltimore, pumping, like you really felt like they were in it.
Yeah, that place was rocking.
Yeah.
The fans were really excited. I think the team was really excited too. But ultimately, I think that this comes down to experience in a way. You know,
in a way, like I don't know how much specifically postseason experience the Rangers have had, but I do know that they have a lot of veterans on their team.
Yeah, you got some guys that have played in some really big games there. I mean, Seager, Semien. I mean,
was Semien on the Astros? Is that where he was at?
No, he was with the A's when
A's.
they had a really good team.
When?
A couple years ago.
I did see a picture of the like a graphic of like current or past A's that are currently in the playoffs, and you could literally make a 9-man roster. And it's like,
oh my
if
gosh.
only the A's, had just re-signed their guys. And people say that a lot. They're like, "Oh man, if only they signed them." And I just think, like, at the same time, those guys went other places and did really well because the organization is good. So, like, would they have become as good in Oakland? I don't know. Hard to say, but you like to dream. That's for sure. Oh, why did it not let me be Trey?
I'm not a blue sky kind of projection man. You know, I like to deal in facts and reality. I'm a man of logic, a man of reason.
No, you're not. Stop.
Never would I make such charged claims based fully on emotion.
No, not at all. Speaking of which, let's talk about the Dodgers versus the Diamondbacks.
What do you want me to say, man? I'm sorry.
I wouldn't.
I'm dumb.
Hey,
I was wrong.
No.
You want me to sit here and apologize for
No.
thinking that the Dodgers are a better all-around team than the Diamondbacks?
You were
because
right. It was a sweep.
Yeah. Oh man. Here's what I think. Okay. Obviously, I was off base, but you can't really blame me too much because let's not forget that the D-backs did back into the postseason a little bit. They were kind of like they were cold there at the end of the season. All right, I don't think that anyone in their right mind would have expected them to get to the NLCS. Past the Brewers first, even I think was big. Doing that.
Were they cold the last part of the season? I wouldn't call
Not when they played
sweeping
the
the
Cubs.
Cubs. Yeah, I wouldn't call sweeping the Cubs.
Yeah, not when they
cold.
played the Cubs.
4 games. Oh, just kidding. They took the last game. The Cubs took the last game. But, let's see. They got swept by the Mets. Oh, just kidding. The Diamondbacks did sweep the Cubs in 3. Then they swept the Giants in 2.
Also really cold at the end of the year. They kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Got swept by the Yankees. Destroyed the White Sox. And then got swept by the Astros. So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say they were cold because they were still scoring. So, I mean, there's that.
Okay, all right. Maybe the narrative's wrong on that then. Maybe you got a point because scoring is important. I think that if the Dodgers are at full strength with their pitching staff, which of course they weren't, so this is kind of a stupid thing to say, but if they were at full strength, I don't think that the series ends the same way.
I'm sorry,
but
you wanted to deal in facts?
I know, I'm just saying.
Blue sounds like a blue sky kind of guy.
I do think that the Dodgers overall have better position players than the Diamondbacks, but you know what, man? I'm not clowning myself or anything. I was a fool. I was wrong.
Dude,
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'll come out and say it.
You wanna deal with in facts? 1 for 21 was Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman.
Horrible. That's not even that. You know what we said about the Orioles being like disappointing? I think I said it 3 times. I said disappointing. That I only got one word for it, and I'm only going to say it now 2 times, but just once, really, is how I feel, because I feel like that's all it really needs. That was horrible. I mean, you can't shrink in the biggest moment like that, especially not when the rest of the team kind of needs a pick-me-up. You look at guys like Carlos Correa, these generational postseason players that we have the opportunity to witness right now. Think of Jose Altuve. Think of Yordan Alvarez, of Carlos Correa. I'm naming a lot of Astros guys, but think of Bryce Harper too. Mm-hmm. These guys come up big in big situations, and they have moments, man. They have moments.
Yep.
Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts.
Not getting a moment card for this postseason.
No, they shouldn't get any card. I mean,
right.
Nothing short. I would say forgettable, but it's not forgettable because think about the context in which this happened. I mean, you're facing, by many accounts, an inferior team, a team that you've beat up on for the majority of the year, and you just, that can't happen. Not at that time. Horrible.
Yeah. The offense wise, like, that is unfortunate. On the other side, let's talk about the Diamondbacks. Crazy offense. Like, yes. Oh no, if he wasn't so slow, he might have made that. What am I talking about? Man, good job, Joey. Oh, that was Yasmani Grandal. Just kidding. He's even slower than Joey. So these are still major league pitchers on the Dodgers. Like,
absolutely. I'm 100% with you.
You're still on the Dodgers pitching, and statistically, the Dodgers pitching has been great. So if you're on the Dodgers pitching, there's something in you that they really like.
If they see something in you, that's a good sign.
Maybe Clayton Kershaw just doesn't like Halloween, and so when October comes around, he gets like really spooked. Because man, his stats in October are bad. Especially after giving up 6 runs.
Well, they're scary. They're scary is what they are.
Scary.
Oh
bad.
Man, that start. Do you think that's the last time we see him on a mound? Real quick.
No.
It can't be that.
Nah,
I mean, we can't go out like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying like clearly he wasn't 100%. Which I can give you that. Like, it's been like a pretty long year. He is a veteran, been doing it for a long time, so less likely that you're going to get through a whole year without getting fatigued and something just sort of not feeling right. But
Yeah.
So but I don't know. It seems to be something that happens every time. What is that? A habit? It's not really a habit, but you know what I mean. A common occurrence.
He's had much more bad appearances in the playoffs than he has good. And I mean, I hate to say it, man, but I think that's just going to end up being his legacy. A really good regular season pitcher who just didn't get it done in the playoffs.
Which is kind of sad because
for the majority of his career.
At the same time, like, you think he's there all the time, which is the sad part, right? Where it's like, maybe it wouldn't be like that way for his legacy if the Dodgers hadn't made it almost every year into the playoffs that he's been with them.
And that is key, because I do want to point that out, what you just said, right? The Dodgers made it, not Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
This dude isn't a quarterback. I mean,
right.
You know, he's not 30%, 40%, whatever arbitrary number you want to throw out there, but it's significant nonetheless.
Right.
Whatever, he's not that percentage of the reason why they make it. The Dodgers have made it because they just seem to churn out these guys like clockwork. I mean, you know, you lose Corey Seager, you think that's a big deal. Who do you sign? Boom, Trey Turner. You know, you lose Trey Turner, and then, your infield's still good. Like, yeah.
We didn't even talk about that.
The Dodgers have had...
Didn't they have their shortstop go down with an ACL at the beginning of the year?
You know, I'm not even sure about that.
I forget his name. That's going to bother me. I'll pop it up on the screen. Make myself look foolish, but I'm pretty sure in spring training their shortstop got hurt, and so then that's why Mookie Betts is playing second and sometimes shortstop, just trying to get guys in the game, trying to get their best bats in the game, and they're like, this guy's pretty athletic. Put him there. And they also have
just
Miggy
don't
Rojas.
rely on him to do something big for you in the postseason. At least
Not this year.
At least for this year. I know Mookie Betts has had postseason success. We all know that, but this year, it's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
And he brought that up himself. I'll give him credit for that. Wow.
Oh!
Man, Mr.
Oh
October.
my gosh, I'm pretty sure that's the same. Pretty sure that's the same one that he actually hit.
Yeah. Did you see were the two guys up on the roof this time?
Everyone saw that.
No.
Man.
Oh, okay.
They're up there.
They're up there. They should put them up there.
They live up there.
When you play in October.
I want the Phillies to make statues of those guys. So every time there's a home run there, you just see two guys like
up on the put it on the Lego set. Got two minifigures up there in the Lego set
of Citizens Bank Park. Yeah. Only the real ones will know.
All right.
So can I just say one more thing? I think the narrative of this series, we're a little bit guilty of it too, but the media is definitely guilty of it in general. The narrative of this series has been what a horrible showing from the Dodgers. But man, we gotta respect the Diamondbacks for going in there and exorcising some demons, beating that team in the way how they did and sweeping them, being 5-0 in the postseason right now, man. That shows me that is a very, very tough and resilient team. And let's not forget that they're, for the most part, pretty young.
Yep.
So that is not an exciting fixture, I think, for the.
Go back, dudes, go back.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Um,
That's not an exciting thing to look at for the NL West.
yeah. I mean, if he was a better hitter. Anyway, so in my mind, it's like no one. I've been pretty on board with the Diamondbacks this entire time, right?
I know you have, yeah.
And I will say I'm a little hesitant to go with them for the next round. It's not that I don't believe in them, but after watching that Phillies playoff game, I know the Phillies are for real, and a for real Phillies team is tough to beat. So
with the freaking, I mean, what do you Bedlam at the bank during your Red October? You got the Phillies rolling. I mean, I think the Diamondbacks really just have to play for like a split during the first couple games. They play two, right? They play two in Citizens Bank, and then they'll go to Arizona, or do they play three there?
I know it's a 7-game series, so they might play 3. I'm not quite sure.
If they can take one game, I mean, you kind of got to take one game, otherwise you're probably not going to win the series. But I'll just say this: any win in Citizens Bank Park right now for a team against the Phillies is nothing short of impressive. We'll see what they can do. I'm with you. I'm not like I don't even really want to pick against them again. I'm sure we'll do picks at the end.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Skipping over
we both know who we're
man.
picking in this series. Like, how do you not go with the Phillies with all that momentum, all that juice and energy behind them, man? Like, let's talk about the Braves and Phillies right now. I mean, I got my boss at my job, huge Braves fan, and he was so upset after Game 3. He's a really calm guy, but when he was talking to me about it, I could see like a few screws loose, like in his eyes. Like you could see something kind of cracked in him a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh. I even said something to him, and he admitted to me that he wasn't very happy with how that game went. You know, the first games in Atlanta, the Phillies taking one game there, that was all they needed. That was all they needed. And they could have gotten that second game too if it weren't for what we've all seen by now, that catch by Michael Harris, an incredible catch.
Right. Great catch, man. Fantastic.
Austin Riley had a day that game, but I mean, you know, it was just the Phillies all year had lived by the long ball and lived by extra base hits, and they just weren't doing that. They just weren't doing that in the postseason. Acuna, I think, had what, 2 hits?
I'm not quite sure of his stats. I know he wasn't very happy at the end, which we might talk about a little bit, but yeah, I guess we can get opinions about it. But for me, it's like they got something that they could use as like fuel. And my dad is from Philadelphia. Let me tell you, if you give them something to, make them hate you even more, it's very motivating for them. They will not forget it. And the Phillies team really embodies that as well. You know, Bryce Harper staring down Arcia twice. It's like, man. I saw a tweet by, I want to say it was Gosman. It might have been someone else, but they said starting pitchers love it when position players piss off the other team's superstars. And I was like, yeah. Probably not feeling too good for, I think, was it Elder that was pitching that day?
In game 3, yeah, I think it was Elder.
It's like, man, what a buzzsaw.
It could have been whoever on the mound, bro. It could have
definitely.
been prime Bob Gibson out there, and he still would have been screwed. Like, it didn't matter.
Right.
It didn't matter who was out there, and that's like you said. When it comes to a guy, especially like Bryce Harper, man, that is not a pot you churn. Just think about it for a second. Like, think about what you were doing. And I know that there's a conversation out there about, oh, should it have been reported? And in my opinion, all of that is stupid and irrelevant. Because guess what? It was reported. And facts are facts. Like I said, I'm a man who deals in facts.
Reported. It
all
happened.
Right? The facts are that it was reported. And I mean, we're going to sit there and complain that news happens?
Right.
I mean,
and the fact that wasn't the final game either. Like, it was the first game in Philly. You could have come back and did what you did last time and took that second game in Philly. And, man, this is, oh, no, I got it. Okay. Oof, man, I thought that was going to be...
RBI double by Jay there, huh?
Yeah, Jay. Go Jay.
Go Mitch, huh? Go Mitch Garver out there on second. Nice two.
Yeah.
Mitch two bags out there. I love it.
Mitch two bags. Oh, Kenley Jansen in a Cincinnati Reds uniform?
That'll never happen. We need lefties anyway, so I don't want to see that.
Oh, and I missed it. Oh, 2-out rally, not bad.
Yeah, big extra base hit there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a ridiculous conversation, and it just seems like almost like a victim mentality to complain about something like that. It's like, well, guys, at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that, you know, maybe that contributed to you getting beat, but ultimately, let's sit back and reflect on the reasons as to why you lost in the first place. Because, I mean, if you're going to sit here and say it was because of a reporter, that's not taking responsibility at the end of the day.
Right.
And I know that the players don't feel that way. I think it's just a very marginalized fan group on Twitter that's probably voicing opinions that they may or may not actually have. But nonetheless, I think it's kind of silly that it's even a point of conversation.
Right. So.
Oh, yikes! Man, he went down and got that. That's impressive.
That was smoked. 109, man.
That's kind of soft for Ellie, not gonna lie.
Pretty sure it just landed.
He can hit. He can get him a little more than that, I think.
For a pitch that low?
You know what? On a cutter, breaking into him, that might be the best he can do. You're right. Good point.
All right. So there's a few things I want to talk about with like the format, because we talked a little bit about the format and people, the higher seeds getting some longer breaks that in baseball aren't exactly helpful, right?
Are they not helpful though?
So that's what I want to talk about. The teams the higher seeds that left early. The Dodgers, we talked about their problem, starting pitching.
You know what? I don't know, man. I think the Dodgers, you could have ran out a lot of teams against them, and I think you would have gotten the same result.
So
I just think they weren't ready.
here's what I think. That could be true. Here's what I think. I think we're gonna get a real good picture on Monday, and maybe do they do every other day? Monday and Tuesday, probably, when the Phillies face the Diamondbacks. And
I agree.
I think a lot of people are going to be surprised if everyone's going to be floored if the Diamondbacks take both those games. And
It'll be show stopping.
yeah, they'll be like, oh, maybe the Dodgers weren't that bad.
They would probably instantly become the favorites to win the World Series.
I think so. And
I mean, you have to be at that point.
I think, yeah, probably. So put the bets in now. No, just kidding. So for like, I think we're gonna get a really good picture in this next series of how for real are the Diamondbacks, and I will say I think they are for real. However, I'm not gonna like be surprised if they do lose to the Phillies, because the Phillies are for real, for real.
Oh, they for real, for real.
For real, for real. And so, here's one scenario I wanted to put past you.
Okay.
Do the Twins beat Baltimore?
Yeah,
You think so?
I think they do. I think the Twins beat Baltimore. You know, I mean, and can I ask, like, in the most respectful way possible, what's the point of that question? What are you arriving at?
How ready are the Rangers for Houston? I mean, division like
they should be ready.
So
they should be
that
ready.
helps a lot of like wanting to win,
I
like
think
having that motivation. Not that they're not motivated or anything if they weren't in a division, but it definitely helps, right?
I think just reading the energy of the team right now, I think they want Houston.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that them and the fan base wants Houston. And that is a little bit of a scary thing. I think that you saw that in Philly, actually, when the Phillies, both the team and the fan base, wanted the Braves, and they wanted Strider. I mean, they were out there, man, at the end of the game. We want Strider. You know what I mean?
Whoa. The Twins are saying we want Houston, so.
Well, they're, you know, I respect the Twins, but, and you know, like I said, I think the Twins have good, bright days ahead of them, but the Twins are not the Phillies.
Yeah, that's true. Not yet.
They're not as explosive, you know. That Phillies team, when they get rolling, if they get their bats hot, that is not something anyone wants to play against.
It's almost like any team if you get the bats hot.
Them more so than most. I mean, like, I think if you get the Reds bats hot, like, that's not as scary in my opinion as the Phillies hot bats. But, you know, point is, you don't want to face a team when they're hot in general. You definitely don't want to face the Phillies when they're hot, and you surely don't want to face them when they're hot in October in the bank. That is not a great place to be in. So, yeah. But going back to Houston versus Astros, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was really focused on that.
The Rangers.
Didn't want to go yard on that.
He's stealing. To the Rangers versus Astros, I feel like it's going to be a good series. You know, I don't think any one of these series is going to disappoint.
Yeah, that's what would make you disappointed?
Like a 4 or 5 game series. I want to see the Battle of Texas. You know, I don't even want it to be a battle, man. I want it to be a freaking war. And I kind of want it to be like a war of attrition, mental attrition, low key. Like, I want these teams to grind each other down,
Yeah.
to do their best to grind each other down. I want the fan bases to feel like they're getting grinded down with the anticipation, with the heavy moments in the game. I want it to be that series, and I do think it has the potential to be, because you look at the even just the fan bases can really charge you up in these moments, and I mean you should be charged up anyway because you're playing in the ALCS. So add the extra fire of the fan base and the pride of everything that's going down. I got a buddy. He's from Dallas, loves the Rangers. His wife, guess where she's from? She's from Houston.
Oh no.
Okay, and right now, they're like, I don't want to say that they're in a weird like spot, but I'm just putting this out there. They're they've been talking a little bit of smack to each other.
I couldn't.
So and I'm getting that in Idaho. Okay, let's not forget.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a family affair here. I mean, my wife lived in Dallas. Some of my wife's family lives in Houston. I mean, this is going to be a very emotionally charged event for the fans, and I look forward to that. Because if we found out anything during the division series, it's that drama in baseball games is exciting. And in the postseason, it is, I mean, it's spectacular, man. Like, you can't even really find the words to describe it because it's so entertaining.
It is. I think this is what we look forward to all year, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it can get kind of boring. That was a terrible pitch. It can get kind of boring, just sort of some of the May and June games where you're just like, man, we'll get them. Get them next time. But yeah, October is where it's at.
It's always exciting to see your team doing well, right? Like, I'm sure that Rays fans were extremely excited. All three Rays fans that are out there, I'm sure that they were excited when their team started 13-0. But we all know where the season really starts. And it's in October. And you can just feel the energy of these games, how much they mean to the fan bases, how much they mean to the players. And it's awesome, man. It's so much. I wish baseball was like this all the time, but the schedule doesn't really permit it to be that way. And it probably shouldn't be, because baseball is, I think the amount of games makes it somewhat fair as to who gets into the postseason and who doesn't, right? Because it's like, well, I mean, you had your chances to get there. And if you don't get it done,
having so many slots open for like 3 wild card spots per league.
Yeah, and I do want to say something about that. Remind me to touch on that later, because I think I've got an explanation as to why that's happening right now. But
why they
you're right.
expanded?
When you watch, yes,
Okay.
When you watch baseball in the summer, you can get really stuck on these cold and hot streaks that your team gets. And I mean, you just focus on these things that aren't that important. I mean, these little window things become such a big deal to you during the regular season, and at the end, they're really marginal things. Because if you keep the big perspective of the postseason in mind, like some teams do, like I believe the Phillies do, then all of those little moments in the season, they're kind of like, it shows you how important they really are, and they're not very. When you make the dance, you get your opportunity, and I mean, there are some teams that capitalize, and there are some teams that don't, and I think we saw that very clearly in the division series.
Yeah, I think all of the. Yikes! Who is this? Mitch Garver? Yikes! I'm flustered for this at bat. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Focus in.
Oh no.
Let me say what I was gonna say about the postseason structure.
Okay.
I think that people, if they're complaining about there being 3 wild card spots, that's a little bit short-sighted because the MLB's postseason, I believe, is constructed to format how the MLB will be constructed in the future. I think that after expansion, when each league has 16 teams, they'll probably split the divisions and we'll have 4 divisions in each league, right? Kind of like the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that if we still have the same amount of teams making it, we have 4 division winners and then 2 wild card winners, which probably makes a lot more sense than just having, 3 wild card spots. But I mean, who? Oh, jeez, that was rocked.
Yeah, I don't. I was literally about to ask if you wanted Hater still in.
How tired is he? Where's his energy at?
He
No,
only
I
faced
mean
one
he's
batter,
fine.
but
He's fine. He just barreled that. Nothing I can do.
pitch better.
Yeah,
That's
but what are
you
your
can do.
thoughts on that? Do you think that the playoffs are? Do you think I'm on base there, or am I off base?
I don't know. I think it'll probably be another 5 years before they expand.
Before like the teams are implemented, you mean?
Yeah, before they get like real. 5 years kind of seems long, but before they get like real momentum of like, oh yeah, we're looking for a city, or like we're really gonna put a team here, blah 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 blah. So, which I don't know, how long are the CBAs? Are they 8 years?
Maybe I don't
remember.
know.
So I mean, like, I know Manfred said that it's too early to tell or to make assumptions for the new playoff format, but I also don't really like the amount of people going, why is it that like 8 out of 7 of the like top seeds haven't made it in these past 2 years? And it's like, okay, like, why are we having playoffs if you just want it to be the top 2 teams?
Yeah, I mean, then
won
let's
the
just
most
go back to
games.
how it was like 100 years ago, and just you have the best record in the American League. Boom, you get to play in the World Series. Congratulations. I think that that's dumb. I don't think that that's good for baseball or the fan base because I mean, you probably know the answer of who's going to be in the World Series by, like, I don't know, a little after a little after the All-Star break. I mean, like, you at least there would be teams that just aren't playing for much, and I don't think that a sport that's struggling with
Bro, don't give him a
fans,
strike.
like with fan aggregation, I guess is the right word. I don't think it would be a good idea to make that worse by making like 28 out of 30 teams not really playing for anything. Like well before the year's done.
Yeah.
That's not good for baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be interesting to go back and see how many teams the Dodgers played there at the end, and the Braves played there at the end that are like done for the season. They start calling up all of their prospects to just give them time and start playing them. Because if you look at it, like, I think they're only like 10 games behind all the teams that are, 100 plus wins this year. All the other guys 90 plus years. I think the lowest one was like 88 or 80. I don't even think it was 88. I think it was just 89. I think it might have been the Twins.
It sounds like a lot, like having your team be a 90 win ball club versus a 100 win ball club. And I mean, 10 games, that's pretty substantial in the MLB, but you also have to remember, like, how many of those games by the team that won 100 games could have had like a blown save or something?
Mm-hmm.
What if they had 3 blown saves? And then what if something else happened to that team with only 90 wins, where maybe you give them 3 extra games in the win column because of, X, Y, Z. All of a sudden, they're not separated by 10 games anymore. They're separated by 4. And that is not substantial. So there are a lot of little things like that happen in the season, right? Like I said, like these marginalized moments that aren't that important but become blown up. Um, so you see like something like a 100 win team and versus a 90 win team, and you think, oh, they must be so much better than them. Well, maybe not. Maybe they're not that much better than them.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times with like football is basically the only sport where it's like win or go home. Pretty much all the rest of them are series, right?
Right.
Basketball, hockey, tennis. Tennis isn't.
I mean, the physicality,
Yeah.
the physicality of football doesn't really permit there to
Right.
to be a
So
series.
I think that's one where it's like anyone could win in football. So like the number one seed's not always going to win because it's one game, right? But in baseball, like I guess you could argue that a 3-game series in the wild card is a little quick to like show who truly should be there. But I feel like 5 games is good enough. And then in the championships, when it's 7 games, like plenty of time.
So do you feel like there should be more games added to the wild card round?
No. I think.
How about the division series? Do you think the division series needs any more games?
I know it would definitely probably make everyone feel better of like, oh wow. Man, but like
Maybe, but Ben, 2 of these teams got swept.
Yeah, that's
I mean, the
games,
Dodgers,
right?
the Dodgers
So,
and the Orioles. I mean, sure, you give the O's how much better is just getting out in 5 games on a 3-game sweep than oh, you get one more chance, but you got to win 4 games in a row. Well, how many times has that happened in the MLB postseason? Not very many.
right.
So I don't think a 7-game set in the division series is better. I think that again, you work with what you have and you deal in facts, right? Like that's the lot that we're given as MLB fans, and that's the lot that these teams have had for a while now. And I think you work with what you got. If you can't get it done in 5 games, then sorry, but you're going home, and that's how it should be.
That was a strike. How was that not a strike?
Man. I've heard some people say that like the wild card round should be almost like a 2-game set, and I disagree with that. But I do think that you know has a team lost the first game yet and come back to win the series? I don't know if that's happened or if it has, but if you lose the first game in the wild card round, it certainly does feel like you're already kind of dead.
Yeah, you're scrambling, right?
So if they change anything, maybe make the wild card a 1-game thing again. But then you just get the complaints of what the former complaints of it being. Did we just freeze? Maybe.
Oh no, he's on the plate. Wow, you know what? You win some, you lose some. We might have came back in the end, but yeah, I think we disconnected. So
I think we came back in the end. I think the game finished 5-6.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what
Bryce
happened.
Harper hit a walk-off home run, so
I don't think he was up, but I like it. Well, actually, he would be up. No.
I wouldn't just say it if it wasn't.
Yeah. He would be up actually. If to hit a walk off, he's got to hit 3 runs. So 2 guys got to get on. Anyway,
good.
We'll see how long this lasts, but we're not going to restart. So, let's. What do you wanna finish up on?
My finalized point will be this. Well, I'm gonna say a couple of things.
Hmm.
I I'm excited for the war of Texas. It's not the battle of Texas. I want this to be a war, and I think it will be. I'm happy for the Diamondbacks if they surprise the world by beating the Phillies, and they would surprise the world
Yeah.
if they did that. They become my favorite to win the World Series against anyone that comes out of the American League. But I don't expect them to do that because the Phillies are just an unstoppable train right now, going 100. They are a freight train going 100 miles an hour,
Hmm.
and I don't see a logical way as to how they don't make it
I
to the World
mean,
Series.
I mean,
I know, but
maybe they did
again, I
shut
don't want
down.
to
They
take
shut down
anything
that
away from the
offense that you
Diamondbacks.
were so enamored with.
They did.
I don't know if that's the right word,
If
but
they're pitching
you
can
swore by the
perform.
Dodgers offense, man. Go Diamondbacks, man.
Nah, you're riding the hype wave there, brother.
Nah,
I'm going Dodgers all the way.
I'm going Diamondbacks. And you're like, no
I did.
way.
You're right. I did. I said there was no way all those guys were gonna
Yeah.
you know who I think is gonna shut them out? Freaking Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. That's who I think is gonna shut them out. Do bad, and what do you know? Lo and behold, they did bad.
I will
They did
say
worse than bad, actually.
I will say that the circumstance with the Phillies having played 2 series already is a little bit different than the Dodgers not having as much motivation coming in, like things
That is
that are
true.
motivating them that have happened before, where they're like, I don't know, building confidence, I guess. Like,
I should have gone into that with more information, but I didn't, and that's my fault. I'm sorry, Arizona. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm proud of your team. I hope that you do well. You know what? And if you win, I'll be rooting for you in the World Series.
hmm
100% surefire. My last thing that I want to say is that I think that the playoff structure is fine. It's, in my opinion, too early to really change anything about it. I just, I think that we want to find a perfect formula for something that can't have a perfect formula.
hmm
The playoffs inherently will never be fair. And that's just kind of the way how sports works. But if sports were so predictable
I was
and
gonna say,
fair
I
all the
don't.
time, that would be really boring.
What do you mean by it's not fair? Like,
Well, you could say the Dodgers,
waiting
it's
that
not
long
fair
is
that
not
we
fair.
won almost 100 games, that we had, okay, think about it from the Braves perspective, actually. That's a better example.
Okay.
Oh, we had we had this 100 win season, this historical offense, but we got to lay off for 5 days, and we're just running these stupid inter squad games that obviously no one's really putting all their effort into. But I mean, it's not fair that we have to play the Phillies. It's not fair that we don't get reseeded after or whatever, and we get to play the Diamondbacks instead. So you could argue that maybe they're not fair, but if sports were fair, it would be boring.
Yeah, that's true.
If if anything does need to change about the playoff format, I think it should be reseeding. They should probably do that. But
You know,
I'm out.
I
You got me lost on everything else.
I'm gonna say if the Diamondbacks end up taking 2 games from the Phillies, they would have beaten the Braves.
I agree.
But that's for next time, right? we'll
Yeah.
we'll come in with the World Series participants. We'll come in. We didn't really talk about the Astros and the Rangers. We were just excited on the atmosphere that's going to happen. But I think it's a toss-up between the two. That's my quick analysis. Either one could
I don't
make
know
it.
if it's a toss up. I don't know if it's a toss up. I think that it'll depend on the Rangers starting pitching. If their starting pitching can come in and
Well,
continue to slam the door shut on
Scherzer's
that
back.
Astros lineup just like they did earlier, to the teams that they had played before in their series.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do that, I don't think the Astros. I don't think they can win. I think the Rangers would go on to the World Series if that happens.
I think
it's gotta be lights out starting pitching.
I think it's going to come down to 2 or 3 moments in each game.
I hope so.
I don't think it's going to be a ton of offense. And with that being said, the scores might be high, but I think it's only going to be like 2 or 3 instances that makes it that way in those games. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be an onslaught against each other. So I've got faith in the Rangers pitching. So that's why I say it's a toss-up. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros make it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers make it. I'd be more excited to see the Rangers make it because then it's not Astros Phillies in the World Series again. But
I would be excited for Astros Phillies. I'd like to see the juice behind that one as well.
There definitely would be some juice. But that's all we got time for today. We will catch you guys next time, and hopefully it's Rangers Diamondbacks in the World Series.
Wow, you're gonna end on that? All right.
We'll see. It's a fun prediction.
We'll see.
And if it happens, I can blow it all the way back. But if it doesn't, whatever.
Phillies Rangers for me. Phillies Rangers.
Wow. So down with the Astros. You heard it here first.
Yeah. All the way down. So.
All right, down. We'll catch you next time.